Support for City Science has been provided in part by Science Chicago, the world's largest science celebration, awakening the inner scientist in each of us through thousands of dynamic interactive activities. For information, go to sciencechicago.com.
I'll have a large dark roast, black, and he'll have...
A cafe latte, please.
Man, I tell you, I'm not human until I get my cup of coffee in the morning.
It's 2:15, man. What's the deal?
I don't know. Coffee's got caffeine in it, and that blocks my adenosine receptors, and that causes my brain activity to slow down.
Whoa, Mike. I just asked why you were so tired. I did not ask for a scientific explanation of your caffeine addiction.
I'm sorry, man. I get carried away sometimes.
I mean, Mike, it's okay for you to love science, but you don't really have to love science. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
No, I'm serious, dude. I mean, most of what you do is really quite dull.
What? Yeah, that is blasphemy. I'm taking you off my speed dial right now. As of right now, you're out.
I'm very serious about this. I mean, I've seen what you do every day. You sit still, you write some notes down, and you pay attention. Wow.
Yeah, science has it all, doesn't it?
No, Mike, you don't get it, man. I mean, there's nothing eye-catching about what you do every day. It's like watching paint dry.
No, that is not true. Okay, scientists do interesting things. They do interesting and gross things regularly.
Look, I think you and I need to take a poll. You need to understand what people really think about what it is that you do.
You know, I think that's a good idea. I think I'll start.
Fine.
Excuse me, miss? Miss?
Yeah.
Hi. Do you think scientists do interesting things, like interesting gross things, pretty regularly?
Can science be gross? Absolutely.
Really? You think so?
I do?
Yeah, then we should hang out.
Oh, stop. She's wearing a lab coat. I mean, what do you expect? She's a scientist.
Well, that still counts.
It's hydrogen, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Science you find in the city. Energy's discrete on the corner, on the street. It's science you find in the city. It's oscillators, regulators, emulators, generators. Science you find in the city. It's time to explore what science is for. Out the window and beyond the door.
City Science with Mike Davis.
So what's your name?
My name's Rabiah Mayas.
And you're a scientist?
I am. I have a PhD in biochemistry, but right now I'm working on this really cool project called Science Chicago.
And what is that?
Science Chicago is a year-long program designed to get kids and families really interested in science and technology and engineering. There's a year's worth of programs like tours, hands-on activities, and demonstrations designed to get everybody interested in science right here in Chicago.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
I love it.
Well, let's see what there is to love. Do you want to see some gross, interesting science?
I would love to.
All right, let's go to the Field Museum. They have some good stuff going on.
Sounds good.
Hi.
Hi, Mike and Rabiah. Welcome to Field Museum.
Hi, thanks.
Pleasure to be here. Tell us what's going on here.
Well, this room is the room where a lot of the preparation of specimens that go into the scientific collections are done. And so what we get into this room are birds. This is mainly the bird preparation area.
Do you have any birds that we can see here?
Yeah, we get birds from a lot of different sources. Sometimes it's an expedition to some other part of the world, but an awful lot of what we get into the museum are things that either run into windows around town the way these three did,
Poor
or birds
guys.
that were hit by cars. These were both in one up by Green Bay in Wisconsin.
This was from Green Bay?
Yeah, and there's a nature center
Are they
up there.
soft?
Yeah, they're very
They are
soft.
soft,
Oh, they
especially this one.
are.
This is a baby barred owl.
You're touching dead bird.
Are they stuffed with something?
They're stuffed with cotton.
Okay.
And in fact, when you look closer, you'll see some people actually doing the process of stuffing them with cotton. What these are called are scientific study skins. These are being prepared for scientific research, and so they will go into some drawers that you'll see in a little while out in the main collection, and the rusty blackbirds will be with other rusty blackbirds that date back into the 1800s. The barred owls will be with other barred owls, again from all over the range, from the North Woods to Florida. And so that's one of the main ways that we store our specimens, and that allows someone to come and compare plumages from one season to another, or compare birds from California to birds from Maine.
So this is a really research-intensive place. You guys do a lot of scientific work.
There is a lot of scientific work here.
Dave will take them and sex them. The birds, you have to take the sex organs, I guess you would call it, to figure out what they are. And he measures the fat to see how healthy they were when they ran into the buildings, flew into the buildings. And
It's in fact one of the main missions of the museum. People who come in downstairs aren't always aware that there's a whole floor and that basically only about 1% of the specimens in the museum are actually on display.
But I know I've been here before, and in addition to these, I know you guys have skeletons too.
We do, and we make a lot of the birds that come in into skeletons. And here you can see how wonderfully delicate
How
some
tiny
of
they
these
are.
things are.
I would never recognize these as birds.
Yeah, these are all from small birds. These are all from things that ran into various windows around the city.
Poor guys.
Which is amazing because just this fall we've had over 3,000 birds that ran into the buildings of the city.
Just in the fall?
Brought in just this fall alone.
I'm taking out the windows in the office.
Yeah. So here's a sparrow, here's a cuckoo, here's a red-winged blackbird, here's
A red-winged blackbird?
Yeah.
Those have attacked me.
Yeah, you aren't unhappy to see it here.
Oh, well, I'm ecstatic. That one in particular.
But what you can see on these is how delicate these are. The birds have a bone in their eye, which is this round thing, and that's actually got the fancy name of the scleral ring. There's even a bone, a little horseshoe-shaped bone here that the optic nerve passes through. So you can see what a delicate process is involved here to get these. We could soak a bird in water and just wait till all the meat the bacteria had eaten the meat away. But instead of that, we use a colony of beetles to eat the meat off the bones.
Beetles.
Gross!
You have beetles that eat the meat off the bones of these?
We do, and you're going to see them.
Oh. So we're in the beetle room?
We're in the beetle room now.
Does that explain the smell?
Ooh.
This is awful.
It does. It's amazing. I'm so used to it.
You're
I
used to
hardly
it?
even know it's
Well, you've
there.
been here as long as these guys.
But exactly. Some of the smell is just from the things over here on the counter that are drying, waiting their turn to go into the beetles. But the other smells are just the beetles have a little bit of their own smell.
You have the guys right here. These are the guys that are going to go in here. So these are the things that have been outside, and they are...
And so these were prepared out by the volunteers.
You're touching that, you know?
I am
Okay.
touching it.
So what are you guys doing?
We're what are called roughing the birds.
You're roughing the
Roughing the
birds. This from the looks of your fingers, looks like really rough. So show us what you do when you rough a bird.
Well, you're essentially taking the feathers off,
Uh-huh.
like I'll do this guy. And what we're doing is preparing for the beetle room.
Wow.
because The beetles don't
You
like
can hear this
feathers.
ripping sound.
The skin and the feathers have been removed from this bird, and so you can see that it's still got all of the meat on it.
What kind of bird was this?
This was a little white-crowned sparrow, no, a fox sparrow.
Fox
So
sparrow,
again,
okay.
one that ran into a window in Chicago.
Poor guy.
And he will be immortalized as a skeleton, and the beetles will do the work for us here, and you can see what is going on in here.
Ooh, they're going to town.
They sure are going to town on that.
So do the larvae eat too?
The larvae are the ones who do most of the eating, and the adults basically
So
mate
what are
and
the
lay
larvae?
eggs.
The larvae,
The larvae are the ones that look like little caterpillars that
Okay.
are sort of mixed in there, and there are like 9 different sizes of them as they grow and as they eat and grow.
All right, and then when they get bigger, they look more like...
They look like a real beetle, so you can see what's on the tip of the bill of that red-tailed hawk in there is an adult.
How long does it take for them to go from larva to an
It
adult?
takes a couple of weeks for them to do that, and then the adults probably live only for another 3 weeks after that.
That's
But
a
the
pretty good life. I mean, the whole
it-
time they're eating.
Yep. There are these volunteers on a permanent lunch break back here.
So, but how long is this specimen going to be in here?
Well, this one, the red-tailed hawk, has been in for probably 3 or 4 days, and it's very close to ready to take out.
Wow.
These smaller birds went in this morning and are almost done already. So when the beetles are really revved up, they can go through a lot of specimens in a very short time. The bigger it is, the better, the longer it takes, but it's still not very long. We had a colony over here that did a wolf in 1 week.
A wolf?
Yeah, I mean, so
Whoa, these two birds look really different. What are we looking at?
well, we're looking at an American flamingo here, the pinkish one, and a thing called a horned grebe. These were just on display, so they're still attached to these. And you're right, they look extraordinarily different
Yeah.
from one another, and nobody would just look at them and say they thought that they were related.